This is Nanda Kumar from Department of Computer Science, Nanda Kumar College, Pollachi. So here I am going to present under the network concept. So we have OSI reference model in network. So you know that network is nothing but transferring of information from source to destination. That is one side to another side. So there is need of a link from sender to receiver that we say as a transmission medium. It can be either connection oriented or connectionless transmission. So under that, during the transmission, you have a sender machine as well as a receiver machine. So here I have represented as a device A and device B. So here in OSI reference model is a very important reference model designed by ISO, that is International Standard Organization. So why they have named as OSI is it is an open system interconnection. The representation is why if the system is ready for communication for the data which they are accepted is referred as an OSI reference model. In OSI we have 7 different layers from physical. The first layer is physical, second data link, third network, fourth transport, fifth session and presentation, and the last is an application layer. So these are the 7 layers. It is constant, there is no alternation of this. So each layer has its own functionality. Okay. So here the bottommost layer, that is the layer 1, layer 2 and layer 3. All these three layers are lower layer, and the transport layer is nothing but a middle layer. Next session, presentation and application, all those 3 are upper layer. Okay. So here each layer has its own functionality. So the upper layer from sender side, from upper layer only it processes to the lower layer. So the system which is sender will be directly accessed with the application user interaction layer. Application is a user interaction. So let me go for the responsibilities of each and every one. So here the first layer, physical layer, it takes the inputs as bits, that is zeros and ones. Okay. So here the devices used is repeaters. Okay, so repeaters and hub. So what is the difference between repeater and hub is, so repeater repeats the signal. If I am going on continuously speaking, that will be a less signal process. The starting will be a high and throughout it will be a low. So the repeater what does is regenerates the signal. Okay, whereas hub, whatever the signal it gets, it transmits to the receiver side. So the physical layer it takes the repeaters and hub. Next one is data link layer. So data link layer it takes the device with a bridge, and next one is network. So network is take the device as a router, and remaining rest of the layers it takes as the gateway. Okay. So here the first layer, physical layer, the main responsibility is, so it takes the information as a bits and checks whether it is a synchronous or asynchronous concept, how the data is going to be transferred, whether it is a simplex communication, half duplex communication or full duplex communication. That is whether they need acknowledgement from the receiver or not. Okay. So all those things will be checked with the physical layer, and it checks for the bandwidth. Okay. What is the bandwidth taken for transmitting information from sender to receiver, and what type of signal it receives, whether it is an analog signal or digital signal. Okay. So all these conditions will be gone for the physical layer. Okay. And it checks whether the data to be transmitted in parallel mode or serial mode. Okay. So parallel communication or serial communication. So these are the responsibilities of physical layer. So next comes the data link layer. So layer 2 is the data link layer. It takes the input from the network layer and the proceed output to the physical layer. So in data link layer the main concept is MAC. You know that data link layer it takes as a frames, input as a frames. It takes input from the network layer and here it comes as a frames. In data link layer the main thing is you have 2 sub layers, that is MAC, that is medium access control, MAC. Medium access control, and the LLC, that is logical link control. So medium access control, whatever the input it takes from the multiple devices, it checks whether the data is needed for it or not and proceed for it. And logical link control, it checks for the link with the DS system. Okay, so that is what the data link layer. Next one is layer 3. Layer 3 takes input from the transport layer. In each diagram you can see the interface. So 4, 3 interface, 4th layer and 3rd layer interface, 5th layer and 4th layer. So there is an input from the transport layer. In network layer, it takes the devices as a router. Okay, so here what happens is, it checks for the address, sender and receiver addresses, source address and destination addresses. In in what way the data is going to travel, whether the data will occur conjunction or not, whether there will be an error or not. Okay, so all these process will be happen in the network. So here in network you have an IP address. Okay, IP is nothing but internet protocol. So internet protocol, you have an address specification with 3 dotted decimal notation. Okay, so you have a network address as well as host address. Next comes the layer 4, that is transport layer. So transport layer takes the input from the session layer. So transport layer, what happens is, in transport layer, if there is a huge data, it segmented. Okay, the data will be segmented. Okay, in source side, and destination side, the segmentation will be reassembled. Next comes the layer 5. So layer 5 is the session layer. So session is, from the word itself you can understand session. So session it will be split into subsession. When it goes for the subsession in the sense, so when we transmitting a huge information, if there is a failure in the network or time constraints or anything else, if there is a failure in network, then it splits the data into subsession. For each subsession, it has a sequence number as well as CRC. So that in destination side, once the data is going to reach the automatically based on the sequence number, it reassembles the information. Okay. Next comes the layer 6. Layer 6 is the presentation layer. It takes input from the application layer. So presentation is how the data has to be presented, whether it has to be secure, encryption, decryption. Okay. So encryption happens into the source side and decryption happens in the destination side. Compressed and decompressed. So that is what happens under the presentation. How far the data is secured. Okay, from sender to receiver. Next, the first layer, which is an interaction with the user, is layer 7, that is application layer. So in the application layer, how the data is transmitted using WW or remote logging or email transmission or file, what type of protocol you are going to transmit, file transfer protocol, all those things happen with the application layer. So this is the overview of an OSI reference model. So from lower layer to upper layer, once the interaction happens from sender to receiver, the first interaction happens under the upper layer, that is layer 7, and that output will be passed to the presentation output to session to transport to network to data link, and data link to physical. And finally, you know that all the devices will take the input as zeros and ones, right? That input will be transmitted to the transmission media. Okay, so here we have a physical communication and it passes to the receiver. The same functionality will be happening here, and whatever the compression everything happens here, it will be rearranged and decompressed into the receiver side, and finally the device B will be taken as accurate what the sender says. Okay, so this is what the OSI reference model. Thank you.